Today I visit with Terry Cochran from the Lake of the Ozarks here in Missouri. I'm Rick J., your host, and this is Spotlight on the Arts. Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts, coming to you from the home and studio of Terry Cochran, the Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Please join me, if you would, in welcoming Terry Cochran. Terry, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, ever since meeting up with you at the Stark Caverns. And of course, I had good, shall we say, good recommendations for a good interview from not only Bill Wood there in Camden, Missouri, the Bill Wood Gallery, but also Dr. Paula Brown down at the Lake Fine Arts Academy and Galleria. So I've been looking forward to it, as I do for the guests, or all of the guests, in fact. So welcome.
So thank you very much. I'm pleased and happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, your work speaks well for you, but you know, our viewers really like to get to know a person. So if you can, tell us a little bit about Terry Cochran. You can look at the camera and share it with the viewers or me at the same time.
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and grew up in Olmsted Falls, a small little town in the suburb of Ohio there, in Cleveland. I'm sorry, I keep on wanting to say Kansas City.
Yes, we're both from Kansas City, so that comes naturally. That was another time, another life.
Another life, yeah. Anyway, so I went to school there for all my life in Olmsted Falls, and so we graduated and thought maybe I was going to go into doing artwork and stuff with another gal that I knew there. And
that lady's name?
That was Barbara, and she ended up working for American greeting cards people, and they ended up developing strawberry shortcake, and she became a famous person.
Yes. So now you and her shared these dreams of artwork there in school, and so she followed that path and became, as you just described, pretty well known for strawberry shortcake cards.
Yes. And then I, since it was 1965, I had the draft going on, and they ended up drafting me in the Air Force. Well, actually, they didn't draft me in the Air Force. I actually wanted to go to the Air Force, so I took their tests, and they did find a spot for me there. And
so you kind of dodged the draft, as we used to say. Now, I tried to dodge the draft, but I still got drafted. I mean, I tried to go to college, and I tried to the Coast Guard and Missouri National Guard, but so I ended up, but you ended up in the Air Force. Now, you have a story for that, basically. What was your name?
That was quite an ordeal there. When we got to the check-in point at the draft, we were going to take off to go to Texas for boot camp, and the guy comes up and he says, "Is your name Terry Cochran?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, that's not what's on your birth certificate." And I said, "Well, I go by Terry." He said, "Well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be inducted into the Air Force with Baby Boy Cochran as your name." I said, "No, you got to be kidding, you know." And boy, did I get the ribbon. I mean, my TI, he'd stand up in front when mail come, because all my friends all knew about it, so they'd send it Baby Boy Cochran, and he'd go up and said, "Baby Boy Cochran, who in the world is Baby Boy Cochran?"
I can imagine. Well, they probably enjoyed that, using you for their enjoyment, but in a positive way. And then I guess you spent time in the Air Force.
Right.
And when was you finally released?
It's 1969. I got out of the service in November of '69. I was in electronics and computer repair and there. I spent my last 10 months in the service in Vietnam. And I would never forget the trip home. I left at noon on Thursday, and I got into California at noon on Thursday.
Yes, that's like me going to Japan. I arrived in Japan the day before I left in California.
Right.
So that's quite an
unusual thing to experience.
Yes. Now we found that through our general discussions that we've shared so many things,
right,
and seem to be interested in not being happy just doing one thing.
Yeah,
so we are going to concentrate on art.
Right.
And but sharing these other stories. Now, you have grandchildren. You probably want to say hi to them.
My grandkids are Taylor and Brody and Mason, three of the greatest kids. They're all grown now. 21. The boys just turned 21 just the other day.
Those are twins.
And Taylor's 20 and 23. Yes, it's been a beautiful time, and they live down here at the lake, and I've been here to watch them from the time they were born till now. So It's been great.
Now you live at the Lake of the Ozarks, and
Right.
we are sharing on the timeline a beautiful view as you wake up to the sunrises, and later in the evening the sun sets,
Right.
which I guess was one of your dreams in the past.
Right. Yes, I always wanted to have a place where I could watch the sunset. Don't get to see many rises because I don't get up that early.
Oh, I see. Well, now they seem like a lot of your paintings are associated with water.
Yes.
And this view we just shared on the timeline just kind of more or less speaks for that love of the water,
Love of the water.
at least the scenery. And as we share these paintings, you'll see how well he does with paintings of water, which is not that easy to capture.
It's sometimes difficult for me too. Yes.
Good. Well, please, if you would, can you share with us, going back to that time that you was really first inspired to be an artist? Was there a certain person in that, I started like 3 or 4 years old drawing on the bedroom walls. So what's your story, Terry?
Well, I wanted to be an artist, like I said, when I was younger, but then life got in the way, as it does a lot of people. I went to the Air Force, got married, had 2 kids, my daughter Christy and my son George, and then all my work history that I've done. I've been a real estate agent, an insurance agent, and life making money, and
yes.
So I had a very busy life, and back in about mid '80s, I don't know why now, but I wanted to get back to see if I could paint, and so I went and took some art lessons from a lady in Raytown, Missouri. Painted 8 or 10 pictures or paintings at that point, but then something else, I must have changed jobs or we did something different. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, you have a sketch that we're sharing on the timeline. What was it, 9th grade?
I was in 9th grade, and it's a pencil sketch of my living room, and you can tell by the sketch that it's mid-century modern, so from
Definitely.
that 1960s era, 50s, 60s era.
Excellent. So you flipped houses and real estate, life insurance, development within construction.
Right.
You're at the Lake of the Ozarks, so you're pretty well known as Terry Cochran for your establishing these new properties. And
that's more of a creative thing too. It seems like about everything I did, I sold houses for 5 years, owned my own real estate company. I sold life insurance and health insurance for 5 or 8 years or so. Was able to come down here to the Lake of the Ozarks and take over making a landscape company. And so we started that about 20 years ago. And it's a very artistic also thing, where you're designing people's yards and what shrubs and what colors to use and all that. So.
I do that at our place. I'm totally in charge of the landscaping, the flower beds, the trees, whatever. So I'm going to do with that also. Well, so these 2 or 3 lives that you already spent in a timeline that most people, your interest. So you really began painting at the age of 65.
Yeah, and I was watching a show on TV with Jerry Arnell, and I have to give him a lot of credit for inspiring me to say, you know, I've been wanting to paint. It's time for me to paint.
Yes.
So I started recording every one of his shows. I had on my DVR, and I'd listen back to it, and I'd start painting. And I painted one of his lessons a week for 52 weeks.
Oh, excellent.
So he has, taught me all the basics, shading and perspective.
I've been there, done that also. Share that with you.
Yeah.
And your paintings do reflect that control of depth and light, and basically how to bring out things in a realistic state.
Right.
But yes, I also see in your paintings that you have a little bit of freedom, almost in a contemporary style too. So
yes, I do have some of that.
yes, you've done very good. We'll be showing more. Well, you're also involved in the community as far as the art world.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about that. The Osage Beach, is it? Or the Lake of the Ozarks?
It's called the Ozark Brush and Palette Club. Currently, I'm the president of that and have been a past president and vice president. But I started that about 7 or 8 years ago, and when I was first time I was president, I came up with an idea to mentor students from the art quest that they have here at the Lake of the Ozark. All the school children and students and exhibit their art, and whoever wins the 7th to 9th grade category, we would offer them a 4-year mentorship program in our club, and everything paid, the cost of the membership, and we would give them free lessons for 4 years, as many as they wanted to take.
Excellent.
And we've had some really great young artists that have now graduated from the program, and the whole art club got so excited about this that we've really come a long way with it. But COVID kind of killed our club a little bit, which it has to many of the clubs. They're just we haven't been able to get together, but we're trying to rebuild it now. We just come back 2 months ago and started our first meeting. So we'd like to everybody in the viewing area, if you'd like to join the club, we do it.
Well, tell the viewers how to get a hold of you or the club. Probably a website, maybe. How would you like to be contacted?
We can get us on Facebook. Ozark Brush and Palette Club is on Facebook also. But my email is tcochran, that's TCOCHRAN 0429 @gmail.com. I'd be glad to give you some paperwork and stuff about the club, and our meetings are once a month at the Methodist Church in Camdenton. It's the first Thursday of every month in the Methodist Church just past the square in Camdenton. So
excellent. So we encourage you, if you're in the Lake of the Ozarks area, you want to share your skills or learn skills. That sounds like the club to be a part of down in this area. I know we have artists from all around Missouri, as you noticed on Mid-Missouri Art News or Spotlight on the Arts. So Terry is in the company of many artists in the area. So I'm happy to be part of that also. Well, you're currently exhibiting in my Call for Nature's Art at the Run Center. I want to thank you for that beautiful piece.
Thanks for the opportunity to be there.
And as you're going to draw they'll be counting the votes for People's Choice Awards, and that'll be on about the 3rd of July. And should be getting notice too on that. So again, thank you for sharing your skills. Your awesome works with everyone that has visited the Run's Nature Conservation Center there in Jefferson City. I hope to do that again next year. This is the second exhibit at the Run's. We was going to do it last year, but again, COVID I kind of knocked that out of the schedule, you could
Yeah.
say. So I want to thank you. Well, Terry, we must take a break.
Okay.
So please make yourself comfortable while we look at a special message. After the break, Terry will fill us in on his favorite mediums, some of his favorite subject matter, those favorite paintings, should we say special techniques he wishes to share, and his favorite time behind the easel. Maybe he paints at sunrise or sunset. So stay with us. There's so much more to learn here on Spotlight on the Arts. We'll be right back.
Luke.
Welcome back. Our contestants reached the final round, where he's faced with 3 difficult choices. Behind curtain number 1, more alcohol than your body could ever survive. Behind curtain number 2, dangerous, mind-altering drugs. And behind curtain number 3, we have your family, your friends, and your self-respect. All right, Luke, what's it gonna be?
Luke.
Come on, Luke. 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 You want another beer?
Welcome back to Spotlight on the Arts. I continue my interview and chat with artist Terry Cochran of the North Shore on the Lake of the Ozarks.
Hi. I would like to share some more things with you. We live here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and there's so much good music around that my fiance and I, Robin, we go out listening to music all the time. We love to dance. We do ballroom dancing on the East Coast, West Coast swing. We both play keyboards. I have a trio that we go out and play at the nursing homes, and she always is there with us. And she also sings in the chorale. So I'm in a family of music and art, and just, have a beautiful time spending all that time and music with everybody.
Well, great. She's got it's always nice to have that inspiration, Terry. So, well, let's now get into some of the specifics for the artist. Can you share with us what your favorite medium that you use in completion of a project?
Yes, that I've started with acrylics and I've tried some oils, but my basic media is acrylic, because acrylic dries quicker. You can mix it easier. I tried oils, and you have to wait so many days before you can work on the next project, and I guess I don't have the patience for that.
I see. Well, what is your favorite subject matter, should we say?
I think that it has to be the landscapes. It's got to be water, mountains. The scenes are just inspiration. Anything that inspires me, I go through and look at pictures to see what different things interest me. But normally it has to have some kind of a fog or snow or mountains or something that gives some inspiration in the painting itself.
Excellent. Well, can you step us through the process of completing a project? Do you begin with a photograph and then a sketch? How do you
Well,
come
Right.
into your project?
Most of the time, I start with a photograph, either mine that I've taken or something that I've seen, or I might have 4 or 5 different photographs, and I'll use the trees out of one or the something out of another. But my process is kind of Jerry Yarnell has taught me, and I have to bring his name up because I've had so many years of study with him, that you have to learn the basics, and that is, you work from the back to the front to get your depth. You have to work from the back to the front just to put in your background stuff and work your way up so you can do it. And then the shading and the lighting always comes last. You block in areas. Sometimes I have to walk away from a painting, and I do many times. I'll paint for 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll have to get up and walk around for 2 or 3 days maybe before I can get back and sit down. But one of the Jerry's is always right on this area, and that's called the 3 P's: don't pitter, play, or putter. And that is so true, that any time that I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just kind of messing around, I got to quit and stop, and then I come back to it another day.
Excellent, excellent. Well, now, Terry, what do you really love to do? We talked about water. Now, tell us, if you can, what really inspires you when you've got that break? Is it water, or is it skies, is it rocks, or is it the complete project?
It's probably I have to think about that in a minute, but water, probably the movement of water and how you can make it go over rocks or big waterfalls, or or the shimmer of the water that you can make or the shading, the mirror image that you can make in the water, of the same. And it's really it's uplifting to be able to say, wow, that made it look like it was really going that direction, or in that regard, as far as to shading, or the details are really important when you come to a painting.
Well, and you represent water very well. Now, presentation, Terry, in all the programs, we talk about how you began. We talked about how you began earlier, but some of the artists I interview feel like maybe it's part of our DNA that. How do you feel about that? You know that caveman who painted the paintings on the wall while the others went out and made a kill, and he hoped that he could paint the record on the wall and have a little bit of that meat or vegetables that might be brought back in later that evening. Do you feel that there's any association, like a gift or in the blood, DNA from your past, Irish?
My Irish past. Yeah, I really do. For some reason, there's some God-given talent that you have, and because if you really have that, you normally can't leave it alone very long. You have to come back to it, which I've done over the years. I've leave my art back in high school, and I come back to it in the 80s, and I come back to it and finally again for the 2000s, and I'm not going to give it up this time. I have to have it. And I've noticed that I give my paintings away mostly. I don't sell too many of them, although I will sell them. But I donate most of my paintings to benefit auctions.
Well, now, we call it sometimes the passion we have and the gift. And I have interviewed so many artists that it's generally, I can see that they somewhat gifted. And I run across new artists that have this gift and they don't even realize it. I have to point it out. And then that hopefully inspires them. So I agree with you. They have that passion, and you keep coming back to that passion.
Right.
And so that's good to hear. So I guess your words for a beginner, what would you want to say in an inspiring word?
Don't be so hard on yourself. I think us artists, no matter whether we're musicians or painters or whatever the arts, we always think that we aren't that good, and I think that we are a lot better than we think. So just keep on trying, and putting your feelings on paper or feelings in a guitar or music or whatever it is, and that's all that's necessary. And you can, be for you and make yourself happy.
Very good, thank you. Well, now the COVID-19, you do have paintings that are in different galleries.
Right.
And so how did COVID-19 affect you? And what galleries are you in besides the exhibit, my own exhibit there at the Run Center in Jefferson, Missouri?
Well, as a Ozark Brush and Palette Club, we have 2 banks that allow us to hang paintings in their place of business. And that's the Central Bank in Camdenton, and the other one is the Oak Star Bank in Camdenton. The Oak Star Bank one is a larger one. We have probably 25 to 40 paintings at all times of our artists that are in the club. So it's another good thing about joining the club. We are able to put your paintings in there, put a price on them. The bank, even the people ask for it, they collect the money. They call you on the phone and say your painting sold, come pick up your money. And so it's pretty easy to do, and it's no cost to you to do that.
Now, so you have works at Billwood Gallery in Missouri.
Right.
And also Dr. Paula Brown, the Lake Fine Art Academy and Galleria. And do you have any other shows planned for the future?
Right at this moment, I don't know of any that I was thinking of. I've never done plein air painting, and they've gotten a big Lake Ozark 5 days on it. Plein air painting and an auction, and I've never really done that before, and I think that it would be a really good. I think I'm going to try and do that a little bit this year.
And I have to share, Billy O'Donnell was recently interviewed by myself, and Billy O'Donnell will be the judge of that plein air. So we're going to meet some really great artists in plein air. 5-day event with a dinner and an auction, I understand, talking to Dr. Paul. I hope you will take part in it. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, I might see you there.
Well, you do commission work.
Oh, yes, I do some. I haven't done a lot, but I have done some, and I've painted a few dogs or cats or people of their, I have had a couple of people ask me for specific things, but I've also been able to sell a few of my works also.
Yes, we're showing a dog that was of the past in your family.
Right.
And again, it shows that your excellent, awesome, shall we say, skills.
Thank you.
And so that'll be so good. Now, so again, they would reach you at your email address.
Yeah, email is T Cochran. That's TCOCHRAN 0429 @gmail.com.
Great. Well, it's about running out of time, as you can see. So do you have any closing words you'd like to pass on to the viewers, or any personal events or thank yous, what have you? I want to thank you for being again on the show.
I thank you for coming, and we have so many things in common. But yes, never give up on something that you really want to do. Just keep on plugging.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Cochran, I want to thank you again for being my guest and contributing to Spotlight on the Arts. It's really been an inspiring, informational, educational experience, and to share past events in our life that somewhat are in a cognitive way, our memories, what have you, to share. So thank you again. Well, that wraps up another Spotlight on the Arts, an inspiring one with Mr. Terry Cochran. I want to thank the viewers for tuning in to Spotlight on the Arts here today. And again, thanking Mr. Cochran for shooting the interview at his studio here on the Lake of the Ozarks. Spotlight on the Arts now comes to you via YouTube, my channel, Rick J. I hope you'll stay tuned and keep watching these great artists that I have the opportunity to bring to you. Rick J saying, see you next time.